bí. Olóyè ayé ẹ má bá mi ká lọ. Ẹ ọ̀fọ̀ ìgbéyàwó ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ ẹnu mi. Mo ní igi là ń bẹ nígbò ìgbò. Ìgbò ìmà mi wò lọ. Àràbà yìí wá gbìyànjú kò dọ́mọ kó wà láyé lọ. Igi ńlá yìí wà lóhun tó máa fi ṣàràbà lóore. Oníwíwọ́ ní káràbà ìlọ́wọ́ láwùjọ igi. Onílé wo kò máa gbúdọ̀ wò. Àràbà ní ẹ̀gbọ́dọ̀ wọ láwùjọ. Ṣọ́dá àbáwọn sọ Fúlàní òyìnbó ṣe ń pa wá. Ṣó wá sùn ọkọ̀ má dé ẹmọ́ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ kó já wọn ní. Àwọn àgbààgbà ikọ̀ wọn kò tíra mú odò sí wa kó wà láyé rẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa ṣe òye kò máa gbúdọ̀ wò. Àràbà ní ẹ̀gbọ́dọ̀ wọ láwùjọ. Èrò bá mi kọ́ mọ́dé mọ́. Èmi kí ọmọ yìnyín ilẹ̀ akíkanjú ọkùnrin ogun. Èrò bá mi kọ́ mọ́ wọn ní Ìgbò ọmọ rẹ̀. Iná máa rógún màmá ti di pẹ̀lẹ́ ọmọ bàbá rógún màmá ṣojo. Sunday ẹ̀yẹ tó má ṣe bọ́ kí ẹ ò sí ní gbọ́mọ́. Òrìṣà tí ó ṣe bọ́pọ̀ màdé ẹ̀mọ́ ni ṣe bí yẹn ò kọ́ mọ́ lágbẹ̀dẹ. Ẹ bá lè jẹ́ ẹ̀bọ̀nà jẹ́. Adéyẹmí ọmọ sọ kọ̀ọ̀kan láì dá. Kìkì orí tó máa kọ́ ni wípé Yorùbá nation ìlógún ìbá kìíní. Ẹ̀dá bí rẹ̀ ṣọ̀wọ́n òye kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò, kò nílé wò Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká rórí. Ọjọ́ wo ni wọ́n dalẹ̀ Ifẹ̀ tán gangan? Àwọn kan sáré kó lè dára. Èrè bó bàjẹ́ kókò mi làwọn kan sá. Ṣó dára kí dára ṣó ìwà lọ́kùn. Yorùbá ìrònú kẹ́lọ́ fi mọ̀ ṣọ̀kan. Ọ̀tá ló pọ̀ tán ìwà ká. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò. Àràbà ní ẹ̀gbọ́dọ̀ wọ láwùjọ. Ìdí táwọn àgbààgbà ìtàn kò fi lè sòdodo. Ó ti sọ́wọ́ àjẹkẹ́ wá jọba. Ìran láwọn àgbààgbà ìgbèdánijọ́ kiri. Ó máa ṣe òye, ó máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò. Àràbà ní ẹ̀gbọ́dọ̀ wọ láwùjọ.
Moki Gbogboa from wherever you're watching, I say a very good evening and welcome to the late night broadcast. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and as we continue to tell the international community reasons why we don't want to be part of Nigeria, the 27th February 2022, A lot of people from different parts of the globe knows that the world itself is changing rapidly in our eyes. But ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọ́n lè má tí mọ̀ pé nǹkan change. But on this platform, we will continue to tell you the world is changing. And I hope you are preparing for that as well. I welcome us as you are joining from different parts of the globe. And as I always say, we're living in a global community where people have different time zones. But from this part of the globe, in London, United Kingdom, precisely England, níbi tí èmi ti láǹfààní àti máa bá yín sọ̀rọ̀, is a country that have done quite so much throughout this world. Depending on which one you want to stick to. Ẹlòmíà ní subject to the situation that we are facing now, that it can be managed, while some say the time is here to tell the world how we feel. So many things have gone wrong for the last 500 years. But so many things will happen within the next generation to come. Ilé ayé tí wọ́n sọ fún wa nígbà yẹn will not be the same again. Because we're not all going to be here forever. Regardless of the superpower or the non-superpower, everybody will go. It's just a matter of when. You might have the power today to suppress the people, a continent. But for how long will that power hold is the question. And like I always say, kò ń ṣe ìran Yorùbá nìkan ló ń bínú ní gbogbo àgbáyé. A lot of people are angry for different reasons, for different purposes. But as we continue to be angry, the last thing we don't want is to lose focus, especially with the happenings around our surroundings. Ẹlòmíì máa jẹ́ kí sentiment ẹ̀ kó wà carried away, á fẹ́ lè gbàgbé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation tá gbé dání sọ́wọ́. Ẹlòmíì máa fi sentiment á fẹ́ lè tún sọ pé ǹjẹ́ àní ṣàánú àwọn ará bí. We love humanity, but the question is, does the love that we have for humanity gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìran ọmọ aládé, ǹjẹ́ àwọn náà nífẹ̀ẹ́ wa bẹ́ẹ̀? Ǹjẹ́ ìfẹ́ ta ní sí àgbáyé? Because wherever we are around the world, people know that we are Yorubas. But does the world love us the same way as we love the world? Ǹjẹ́ gbogbo àgbáyé fẹ́ràn wa báwa ṣe fẹ́ràn wọn? Are they dancing to our tune, or are we still dancing to their own tune? For a very long time, we have been marginalized. And now that we are asking questions, some are saying that we don't have the right to ask those questions at this particular time. I don't know when is the best time to ask questions. But what I do know is that things will never be the same again in the society and the global community. A lot of things will change rapidly. Akọ̀mọdà bí ìgbà tó yẹ pé a sùn, a wà nínú ojú oorun, à ń lálàá. But a lálàá mọ́ because in the reality we can see it. They are killing so many of us, but àwa ti gbàgbé àwọn tó ń pa. A lot of people does not even remember how many people have died in the course of even asking for Yoruba nation. Almost a lot of us are still asking the question that we can't get answers for. For every life Tobapa Lomo Yoruba is much as bigger than any other life around the world. But because we forgot to understand that our God for our Olorun dá wa in a proper gene, but we are actually losing focus with a lot of things happening around our surroundings. And if care is not taken, we would actually lose the plot of where we are going, which is asking for a nation of our own. And when I say asking, I've asked the same question. Who actually are we trying to tell to give us what we want? So that we can please them or please wa. We want a Yoruba nation. We know that Buhari is not going to be there forever. It's probably just under a less than 10 months. That's if the Buhari is the one there, dead or alive. It doesn't make any difference to us. But already we have people that are saying that we should just forget about whatever is happening, especially with the consequence of different things happening. But how can we hold the ground is the question we have now. If not, if we lose the ground, into Batimu lose or doing, and forget our Yoruba nation. If we do not do anything, Nino or doing, up to coming to the election, forget about Yoruba nation. Everybody loves Shintobanshi. Because we are people waiting for one miracle to happen before we react to certain things. And what we do is, we are losing the plot and we are losing the focus. We are waiting for somebody to activate. People know the right thing to do. Everybody knows where it's going to end. But we get people that will tell you, oh, don't talk like that. And sometimes it makes us ask the question, do we want what we're looking for? Or we're just thinking of it without really wanting it? If anybody is still waiting for anybody from the age of 40 to give you Yoruba nation, you're wasting your time, including myself. Because we are the generation that have failed that generation, that we are looking behind us and we're asking the question. And we are pointing fingers at them. But this generation, from 40 up, we have actually failed. And the only thing we can do now is to stop it, regardless of whatever is going to happen. But we are not ready. Some are even saying that Igboho better ko wa nibi to wa yen titi di ta ma fi pari election. So that means we are saying that the person that has sacrificed himself must be kept in the bondage of a country that we are saying that we don't want to be part of, with another country aligning with them to keep Igboho there, which is now 7 months. About to the month it on board, they say, I to support 8 months. And the question is, who are we waiting for to fight on our behalf? Who are we expecting to come and save us? Who do we want to come and rescue us? We love doing a lot of analysis, the Yoruba people. I've seen that already. We are good when it comes to breaking down issues, but I don't think we're good to try to execute that project. How do we move out of that contraction? What do we need to do? What can we do differently to save ourselves? I see the reaction of everybody in different ways. Tó bá ti concern tàwa, we react very, very as if that issue is our own problem. Up till now, we are probably forgotten about KOKORO that was killed. It's like nobody knows him anymore. He's dead, he's gone. The reason why we still remember Igboho is because we are still talking about him every day, so that we can keep our heart and our mind in him. Even Igboho said himself that the fight must not stop. After analysis lórí Nigeria, but Nigeria is already planning how to take every one of us out. They have not just pinned Igboho, they have also managed to pin SOWORE and NNAMDI KANU. And the government knows how powerful that these individuals could pull the crowd. Hate him or like him, SOWORE has a very huge followers. And the government knows that. And the government will do everything to silence OMOYELE SOWORE. Just as the government wants to silence NNAMDI KANU. Just as the government wants to silence Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. These are the three powerful forces as this generation to shut down Nigeria. But in our head, people will say we don't have the means to fight back. But what people do not understand is the people have the means to fight back, but we are just not ready to fight it out. If this government thinks that keeping these three people out of the picture would eventually solve the problem in Nigeria, the government must have to rethink about it again. If the government thinks that holding these three powerful individuals, the government must have to plan how they're going to fix the problem of the followers, because each of these three people have different followers. And the whole thing they've asked for is the system is not working and we will bring it down. There's a lot of consultation going on between the Nigerian government and a lot of international community, because they can see it, they can feel it. But they are not seeing it as a threat to where they would go after every single one of us. But what they've done is, the key actor among us, they pin them down. And they are waiting for the followers to react. Wọ́n dúró pé nígbà wo làwọn tó jẹ́ followers wọn máa react. The three of them are running court cases to get themselves out of the dungeon of the federal government. Whether it's OMOYELE SOWORE that have been pinned to Abuja for 2 years with a lot of assassination attempts on his life. Just as NNAMDI KANU, that you would expect that at least, even if it was just that British passport that was with him, the British government should have been able to at least give it something to say, at least British passport, lower. Chief Sunday Igboho, the people, especially the Yorubas, the politician, knows him very well. Kò ń ṣe tí wọ́n ṣe máa ṣàlàyé fún wọn pé ẹni báyìí ni Chief Sunday Igboho jẹ́. If you don't know him, maybe you might want to go back and do some more research on who Chief Sunday Igboho is. The politician knows what he can do and what he is capable of doing. And he has already proven that to every single sons and daughters of the Yorubas around the world. Some probably know him, but some got to know him in the line of what he said when he gave that 7 days ultimatum. Even some Yorubas told him to back out. Just as they're telling him also now to back out. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Yoruba nation, it's not worth it. You are losing everything. Even his closest allies are telling him that. That why do you want to sacrifice everything that you have for those that do not appreciate it, for those that do not even care? But what he said was, at least some still care and some still appreciate it. So there was no reason to forgo or let it go. They've done the same thing with the other two. It's just a matter of time. It is not late if the world power, as they've called to be, bring everybody on the round table and start asking what we want rather than trying to force what we don't want on us. It is very easy for them to come onto the round table and say, if you want Yoruba nation, let's give a referendum and let's ask your people if they really want to leave. And that same goes. But what they're doing now is they're playing around with the minds of millions of people. But our Tawaje followers, we are now attached and glued with things happening around our surroundings, which quite a lot of them. Whether the one that was created to make it look like that, or the one that is meant not to be. Because if you follow everything happening around the world today, there is always the second side to the story. But you might be pleased to hear what you want to hear based on what you're listening to. But whatever we are listening to, we should be more concerned about ourselves because we have already been damaged for a very long time as Yoruba people in a country called Nigeria. We've been damaged that it is now very difficult for even an average person to understand that for more than 200 years, they destroy everything that has lineage to who we are as people. Some even don't know who they really are. It is just based on what the fourth generation below them have told them. But when we start digging and digging and digging, you now realize that we have been really bastardized and damaged. But how do you tell someone in their 60s, in their 50s, in their 40s, in their 70s, in their 80s, that the damage that they've done is part of what we are still doing now to rectify? How do you tell them that? How do you explain to someone that ìyà tó fi wá jẹ for those years is the reason why we are still facing a lot of consequence around the world? But as long as some are okay, we don't care about the rest of the people. As long as some of us are able to have a bit of leverage, we don't care. Ìjà àwọn tó wà ní Ukraine tẹ́lẹ̀, do you think they care about those at home? These are people that have gone to study, just as myself and you are out of the country. We don't even know that there are quite a lot of them there, just as we are all over the world. But they can now understand that the same racism that a lot of us are facing from different parts of the world is now even playing out during a wartime as is happening there. But that same racism is what has been happening to us with the Fulani that is marginalizing us. But these people want to be part of Nigeria. So why should we be concerned? Because majority of them probably are not even interested in Yoruba nation. But they are now crying out loud because they are now in danger. So, Shawana Pedro, Awatawani UK, until the danger points into our eyes before we respond. Or you think it cannot happen. You think you are so safe in this country. You think you are so safe in America, in Germany, in Canada. But the world is already on red alert, especially with nuclear power being played around now. Do you think you're all safe? You think because you have a good job outside the country, you don't need to be interested in Yoruba nation because you don't like the way we talk? Don't point fingers about just the Yorubas inside Nigeria. What about the Yorubas outside Nigeria that have at least a bit of understanding, but they cannot be concerned because most of them don't even have their children in Nigeria? So a lot of people are shying away from the real truth. But I know it's just a matter of time before the situation will change. How long is what people are asking? Let's hear a bit of update on the death of KOKORO from our brother OMOYELE. Let's hear this.
Kí ni tó wà lẹ́yìn àti ẹ̀tí kí ni àwọn ìyàwó kòkòrò sọ? Ní kòkòrò ti bímọ mẹ́rin. Ìyàwó méjì ó ní kòkòrò ní. Nígbà tó bímọ mẹ́rin, ìyàwó méjì ní kòkòrò ní pẹ̀lú ọmọ mẹ́rin. Ní pẹ́ láàárọ̀ rẹ̀. torí àwọn òṣèkà ẹ̀dá wọ́n fẹ́ máa fa nẹ́tíwọ̀kì sílẹ̀. Àmọ́ Yorùbá lè lọ lógún ọdún ọjọ́ kan ṣoṣo báyìí òtítọ́ òṣèkèrè òtítọ́ wá bá. Orí òtítọ́ yẹn làwọn ẹ̀ bá dúró lé lórí. Àníyẹ̀ kúrò lójú òpó òótọ́ tá a gbé dání. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ àgbòmìnira yẹn dá mi lójú. Ẹ má máa ṣe láìpẹ́ láì dènà. Kí ni àwọn àyàwó kí ló sọ? Ẹni pé mo ti pín àkáǹtì síbẹ̀, mo ti fi àkáǹtì nọ́mbà síbẹ̀. Àkáǹtì ìyàwó kòkòrò yẹn. Àkáǹtì yẹn la fẹ́ fi gba owó fún wọn. Àkáǹtì lágbára lọ́wọ́ lọ́ọ̀yà yóò bá àwọn oníròyìn sọ̀rọ̀ ní ọjọ́ Tuesday lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Pé ibi tá a bá nǹkan dé, àwọn wo la pè lẹ́jọ́, àwọn wo la gbé lé ẹjọ́. Àwọn wo la pè lẹ́jọ́, a ti pè àwọn kan lẹ́jọ́. Tí agbẹjọ́rò wa ni ó sì yànnàná ẹ̀ nínú ìfọ̀rọ̀wérọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn oníròyìn lágbára lọ́wọ́ lọ. Àtìláàní kàkàjú ẹ̀jọ́ lọ ìyá nínú jẹ̀dá. Àkàndàbà tẹ́rí ní orí òkè tẹ́tẹ́lẹ̀ prógámù yìí. Ó ní àkàndàbà ìyàwó kòkòrò, ìyàwó méjì ní kòkòrò ní, àmọ́ senior wife olóní àkáǹtì yẹn pẹ̀lú àjọsọ pẹ̀lú ìyàwó kékeré. Tìjàní ìgbàgbé yàrá ní kòkòrò ó yẹ kẹ́ ti àdáǹsì ní gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ yìí lọ. Bí wọ́n bá ní kòkòrò wẹ́wọ́ wá bí tó bá wà, ẹ má fi kòkòrò kú, ẹ má fi ìyẹn tó distract ní. Ẹ ti rí òkú ẹ̀, ẹ rí pé wọ́n ti bẹ lórí ẹ̀ tó wá ní kòkòrò kú. Ṣé photoshoot lẹ́yìn photoshop lẹ́yìn? Ẹ má máa ṣí àìtò yẹn, ẹ máa lọ́ọ̀kì, ẹ máa láì torí àwọn hacker, àwọn tí ń hack. Ẹ má máa ṣí àì. Ẹ máa lọ́ọ̀kì, ẹ máa láì jẹ. Ẹ máa gbóhùn ìyàwó kòkòrò àbí láìpẹ́ lágbára lọ́wọ́ lọ. Ẹ máa ṣe kí ni ẹ gbóhùn ìyàwó kòkòrò. Ìyàwó méjì ní kòkòrò ní pẹ̀lú ọmọ mẹ́rin. Àkọ́bí ọmọ kòkòrò jẹ́ ọdún méjìlá. Ọdún méjìlá ni àkọ́bí ọmọ kòkòrò jẹ́. KABIRU, OLAMILEKAN, FOLAYEMI, ọmọ mẹ́rin ló bí. Pẹ̀lú ìyàwó méjì. Ẹ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbésẹ̀ tá a ti gbé. A sọ pé no going back. Àní ṣe kí ni àní dákẹ́ lórí ọ̀.
Before I come back to what our brother is saying there, ìbéèrè tó yẹ ká máa béèrè wa ni pé for how long la fẹ́ dúró kí àwọn kan wà kó máa terrorize wa, apart from that we have the Fulani Caliphate that has already marginalized us. Àwa ṣe wá mọ̀ pé àwọn kan ṣe racism sáwọn kan ní Ukraine, ní borderline ní Poland, ní Romania. Ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pé gbogbo àwọn ìlú yẹn already they are so racist in the first place? Ṣèbí ìlú táwa yìí gan sef ojú ló ká wọn mọ́, bó bá dá wà pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ wọn wàá mọ̀ pé it get as it be. Not to talk about all these Eastern European countries. Now, auxiliary pa kòkòrò, auxiliary tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún Ṣèyí Mákindé, a jáde síta a sọ pé wọ́n pa kòkòrò. The question now is, are we ever going to get justice for the man that was killed? Àdògán sì wà níbẹ̀ tí Fúlàní pa. Bàbálájí Fatai wà níbẹ̀ tí Fúlàní pa. Ọmọ Yorùbá tó wá pa àdògán àmì wọ́n tó wá pa kòkòrò. And that goes like that to so many innocent people being killed on a daily basis in that contraction you call Nigeria. Who do we hold responsible, if not ourselves, that is still waiting for one miracle to just come down? You think Tinubu is going to back out from this campaign? You can already see Atiku. You can already see Dele Momodu, Kingsley Moghalu, and the rest of those that still wants to keep Nigeria for their own selfish interest. Because it's not in the interest of any Nigeria. Because we are never going to be one. Even if they are thinking at the back of their skull that Nigeria will be one. So it's just that we are pushing Danye for another time. It's like we know the problem. Everybody knows the problem, but we are pushing it for another time. In Ukraine was dealing with Donbass as far back as 2014. They were being dealt with continuously, but we're going to come back there in a minute. Let's hear more a little bit, but you can watch the full video of this. I can't play the whole lot, but you can be able to watch it on Ìṣọ̀kan Ọmọoòduà TV on Facebook. Do you understand that? After KOKORO was killed, his head was taken off. Was that for a purpose? Was that to send a signal? Sí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé àwa la lè ṣe tó bá ń wà nínú Ọ̀yọ́ state. Kò dẹ̀ sí bàbá ńlá ẹni tó lè dá dúró. Àwa la lè ṣe bó bá ṣe wù wá nínú Lagos state. Kò sí bàbá ńlá ẹni tó lè dá dúró. And that goes as well to all the states. And the question is, are we sure we are really okay, every single one of us? Are we sure? Àwọn kan ní ká fi sùúrù gbà, ká ṣe ní sùúrù, ká má jẹ́ kó dìjà. Àwọn kan ní sùúrù yẹn á fún wa ní result tá fẹ́. But do you know that àwọn òyìnbó tẹ́ ń fẹ́ sùúrù lọ́dọ̀ wọn tó bá tó àsìkò kan gbogbo yín ló máa nà lẹ́gba? Because àwọn òyìnbó yìí, what they've done is they've created a lot of, problem around the world. And àwa wá wà láàrin méjì ẹ̀. It doesn't matter what part of the globe you are living. You will understand that ẹrú òyìnbó là ń ṣe. It doesn't matter how educated you are, how important you are to any sector around the world. Ẹrú òyìnbó la ṣe ń ṣe. And we are still dancing and playing to their own world. We are going according, okay, we are living here now. And we are going according to how they want us to operate. Not how bí Elédùmarè ṣe fẹ́ jẹ́ ká wá operate. What we are doing is, we are just managing to live in a society. And each and every one of us is pretending as if it is okay. We are living in a society that is not our own. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mi ò yé yín nísìn. We are living in a false life that is not èyí tó jẹ́ tiwa gangan bí Elédùmarè ṣe dá gbogbo wa. And this is what they've told more than 5 generations before our own. Because for every generation means that what bí wọ́n sáyé, it doesn't matter how long you spend. Ẹlòmíì wọ́n bí á pé a particular year before they die. Ẹlòmíì á ní grandma wọn kú at the age of 100. Grandma yẹn one generation kan nìyẹn nínú 100. Kò bá pé 100, kò bá má pé 100. But ìwọ náà play back and ask yourself, ìyàn mélòó ló ti wá sáyé before your grandma? Because ìyàn kan ló bí grandma tiẹ̀ kó tó kú. That's if you still have the picture in your house. Ẹni tó bí grandma tiẹ̀ yẹn náà ìyàn kan náà ló bí. And what we are doing now is, we are now thinking of the next generation, but we are not really looking at it as something we want to stop. Because the politicians in the Southwest are telling us to our face that you will not change this Nigeria. Wọ́n lè wá ṣetán after their 8 years. kọ́ wá máa jókòó sínú ilé wọn pé Yorùbá yẹn ló bá dà. But while they are there now, they are not concerned. Do we allow them to continue to operate like that? Or do we stop it? Who can stop it? The man that can be part of those that will stop it, that is the forefront. Not that we are now, but we are talking about Chief Sunday Igboho. What should we do to make sure that everything must be put into it to rescue him? How many people do we want them to kill even before Igboho comes out? KOKORO was killed. Not just killed, he was killed in a way and manner that you can just not imagine what the family are going through. Not to even talk. Ṣé rántí pé Àdògán, ẹ mọ̀ pé ó ní bó ṣe pa Àdògán náà. Ó ní bó ṣe pa Alhaji Fatai. These people were killed by a system that we are still trying to, ẹlòmíì nísìn, torí pé ó ń ṣe Yorùbá nation, but tó bá ti dé Nàìjíríà, they have literally forgotten what the Yoruba nation even stand for. But for how long do we hold this patient? This patient that we are talking about, for how long? Let's hear more a little bit.
Ìdí ni táwọn náà fi gbé sí ọ̀rọ̀ ara wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ipa tá a gbọ́dọ̀ kó. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan tí mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ tíìmù tó ń ṣiṣẹ́. Àwọn tó fi ra wọn kalẹ̀ láti ìsàlẹ̀ kòkò. Àwọn tó ṣiṣẹ́ láti fi ìsàlẹ̀ kòkò títí wọ́n ju òkú ẹ̀ sí. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ tíìmù yẹn. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ tíìmù yẹn gá. Torí pé wọ́n gbìyànjú o. Ọjọ́ mẹ́ta ló ní ìjà. Ọjọ́ mẹ́ta ló ní ìjà. Láti ṣe ìwádìí fínífíní.
Do you understand? Nígbà tí wọ́n pààyàn, iṣẹ́ tó yẹ kọ́lọ́pàá ṣe, aráàlú wa ń ṣe, and you are now thinking that we still have the country. Lọ́kàn ara yín, ẹ̀yin feel pé, well, ṣèbí torí ó jẹ́ Ìgbòho ni. Àwọn ti sọ fún kò gbọ́ náà. Aláìgbọ́ràn ọmọ ni. Àbí nǹkan tí gbogbo yín sọ kọ́ nìyẹn. But you have actually forgotten that the system that is penalizing Igboho is coming for you. The system that is, we'll come back to this. The system that is penalizing NNAMDI KANU is coming for you. The system that is penalizing OMOYELE SOWORE is coming for you. And it's going to come for you in a very, very bitter way that adùn ẹ̀wọ̀nú egbò débi pé wàá fẹ́ lè máa bèrè pé ó ṣe jẹ́ mi. Because as far as you are concerned now, these are the three enemies of the state. When Ukraine was hammering, on the people of Donbass, the world was probably not interested, because as far as they're concerned, Kokaye now. I cite my mom there, and I can cite you, Casmo Media. I just say good afternoon, good evening to the rest of you that are watching, because we are in a very serious situation as we're speaking. When they were being attacked, killed, the world was literally not interested. But when things change, it seems everybody now, from their own different perspective, is saying, hold on, This shouldn't be happening in our lifetime, because we are looking at it from our own point of view. At the moment, we are being killed, we are being suppressed, we are being marginalized, but nobody is interested to feel our pain. Nobody is interested to understand what we are going through. As we continue to ask and demand, less than few still believe that we would even get Yoruba nation. Millions of Yoruba people are thinking that it will never happen. Ẹlòmíì á máa sọ pé k'Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí kó ṣẹlẹ̀ lójú ayé mi. Ẹlòmíì ó tún doubt, because we have not been fully prepared inside our inner selves before we start even pointing fingers to others. Majority of us, we are not too sure the Yoruba nation will come true. But something changed this year that will probably maybe give us a bit of hope. But because of the happenings around us now, we are also almost losing the hope. Because nígbà tá a gbọ́ pé ìlú méjì kan gba independent, that spirit goes up. But now we are saying that we are being thrown with so many media analysis, sanction there, problem there, from different part of different people. Everybody has their own take. But like I said, èèyàn kan ló ṣì ń ná àwa lẹ́gba, àìtí ìjọba ara wa jà, and that means the world is not seeing it as an issue. All they are saying now is a religious fight. Muslim, Christian ló ń bára wọn jà. Wọ́n tẹ̀ rò pé àwọn babaláwo wà involved. But this happened in 2014. From some of our findings, àwọn ló ń pè ní ìlú tí wọ́n kúrò lára Ukraine. Let's hear what this reporter, if you look at the date of this video was shot on the 26th of September 2014. It's called the Ukraine War 2014. Luhansk area under shelling. Let's hear a little bit from what this journalist has to say. Fáfànà ẹ̀ tí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ò bá yé, ìlú tó kúrò nínú ìlú méjì tí Russia fún ní recognition lára ìlélẹ̀ nígbà tí Ukraine tí wọ́n ń deal pẹ̀lú lọ́wọ́ náà nísìn, nígbà tóun náà ń deal pẹ̀lú àwọn ìlú yìí ní 2014, òun làwòrán tẹ̀ ń wò yìí. Ṣẹ́gbọ́n kan tí bàbá yẹn sọ, torí èdè wọn ló ń sọ, but I'm gonna translate it from the. Ìyẹn béèrè, ó ní, was it heavy shelling? Bàbá yẹn ní yes, it was a very strong explosion here. Just as wàá ṣe ń gbọ́ explosion tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Ukraine nísìn, these people were facing similar thing in 2014. Just as we are facing the similar thing. Eric Kasmo lọ síbì kan, wọ́n géré èèyàn níbì kan, wọ́n pààyàn níbì kan, Fúlàní ṣe báyìí. The world is not looking at it. As far as they're concerned, we are being dealt with because we have terrorists and we are fighting religious fight. Until it becomes two people who are fighting, then they will start asking the question, kí ló fàjà? Right now, nobody's asking pé kí ló fàjà, because èèyàn kan ló ṣì ń dì pẹ̀lú àwa lọ́wọ́. My hands up, it even broke windows from the courtyard. The explosion was here, but the windows were broken from the other side. The kitchen window was completely broken with frame. We have waited for half an hour and walked out when it stopped. Is anybody hurt? Nobody was injured. When it happened, it was yesterday, September 23rd. This video was September 24th. Was you at home at this time? Yes, we were in the yard. Who, in your opinion, shall, with a question mark, man, they are only the Ukrainian forces in Dabal Steppe. The most possible, they did it. Why would they shell the civilian houses here? Question mark. It looks like somebody needs a shell in civilian houses. We're gonna fast forward it as well now.
Now it's supposed to be a ceasefire here in this Ukraine war. There's been going on for over 5 months now, but it's no ceasefire at all. As we can see here.
It's been going on for the last 5 months. This was in 2014. Oh. They were shelling, they were killing them for 5 months in 2014. So, why am I showing you this? It doesn't matter which person you support, whether you support Russia, whether you support Ukraine, but we must not lose focus. Because already for 60 years, for 60 years, so let us make our sentiment to be more focused on our own plight, because but the more we stay, then àti gbàgbé pé àìmọye àwọn ọmọ wa nísìn wọ́n ti wọ bẹ́ẹ̀dì lọ báyìí in darkness, wọ́n ní iná bó ṣe ń sùn báyìí tí báwọn lè iná tẹ̀sí ń tàn ládùúgbò wọn níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ju nǹkan lù wọ́n because tílẹ̀ bá mọ́ wá tanná alẹ́ nìkan lọ́ní kan máa paná torí shelling. But what we don't understand is, for more than even this democracy from 1999, millions of Yorubas have gone to bed without no electricity. Millions of Yorubas have not been able to even have 3 square meals from this 1999 democracy. Millions of Yorubas do not have access to public toilet, not to talk about good education. So if we are glued with the situation happening around us, we will lose sentiment to our own people that is asking us to come and help them. I'm a point finger, what you ready? What are ready? How do we want to solve the problem? Do we want to solve it on the Zoom? Do we want to solve it on just coming out and do analysis? Ìròpọ̀ tó wọ program ẹ̀, ìròpọ̀ lórí program eléyìí, òríyàn mélòó tó ń wò, ṣé yẹn la fẹ́ máa ṣe? Or do we want to put a full stop to the old manic that has held our people back for the last 20 years? Mo mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ máa mú láti 1960, mo mú láti democracy. is this democracy working for us? Tí wọ́n lọ sí ibì kan, wọ́n gé orí èèyàn, wọ́n gbé bọ́dì lọ, wọ́n tún wá lọ ju bọ́dì yẹn sínú. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n lè pààyàn nílùú yìí kó gé orí ẹ̀ kí ọlọ́pàá má ti máa ṣe investigation títí di bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ nísìn? So let us start thinking, because the more we are glued with the things happening around us, we will lose the real sentiment of our people that are also in danger that we want to rescue. KOKORO lọ́pàá nísìn. We don't have any justice yet. Àdògán ló gbé lọ, àtẹ̀rí bọ́dì yẹn, bí wọ́n ti evaporate bọ́dì yẹn ni, bí wọ́n lọ dọ́ǹpẹ̀ síbì kan ni, àkọ́kọ́ gbọ́ rúmọ̀, wọ́n gbé lọ sí mọ́ṣúárì ni, àmọ́ mọ́ṣúárì yẹn, blah blah blah. But as I speak to you right now, we don't have, because bó ṣe ṣàdògán náà, I don't think they will be ready to even release the body for the family. So the question is, so why are we making it look like, the situation that if in 2014, for 5 months up to today, ní ìjọ náà lọ́hùn ní September 24, according to this journalist, is telling us that 5 months continuously, the Ukraine fi ń tamper tó ń deal pẹ̀lú àwọn aráàlú yìí. Let's hear more what he has to say.
I mean, all the signs of war shelling, a car in ruins, civilian property wrecked. Because what happened yesterday, the Ukraine military opened fire on this village of Yoruba in the Lugansk region near the town of Stakhanov. Mid-afternoon, hit several homes, they hit civilian properties, and they've caused some serious damage here. I've been speaking to civilians to find out exactly what happened yesterday.
So I just want us not to get carried away too much. At the moment, I'm sure you all been getting update from Michael on the fundraising. It's now up to 46%. I believe it's got some extra, which it will be given the actual figure. But I'm just working based on what we have here, which is the give send go. Justice for Sunday Igboho at the moment is on £23,180 plus whatever that he has already, and we continue to ask people voluntarily to donate so that we, according to Mayegun, we put everything ready to make it as loud as possible strategically to support whatever has been done before, just as we came out during the town hall media meeting to debunk and say ECOWAS court is probably talking nonsense, because if that woman does not know what she's talking, we are here to correct the narrative, and that is why the media came out some almost it's coming up to midnight here in London, just about some 5 hours ago. For those of you that probably missed that, you can go and watch it. So once again, let's come back to the reality. Again, you can complete this video should you want to on our brother Ishokan Omodua TV. This video was also yesterday. I'm wondering why Oriyomi Hamzat has not intervened with this particular case. Is it because he's not interested in it, or he has so much in his hand? Because tó bá jẹ́ pé àwọn kan lọ bá nísìn pé wọ́n máa gé orí èèyàn kan, àní nílùú Ìbàdàn bí báyìí, I'm sure he will have interest to that case. I'm still surprised that maybe he has talked about it, he hasn't talked about it. I'm sure it's for us to ask the question. But we are not going to wait for anybody. We will still do what we have to do within ourselves. But for how long do we wait in a system that we know has failed us? For how long? It is easy for us to quickly point the finger to those at home. But everybody has different role to play. We outside has a role to play, just as those inside have a role to play. Again, as we continue to say, let's continue not to forget about these long-term platform to support should the time be necessary. But if they do not have the means, it might also be very difficult for them to say that we will support. It's called the Yoruba National Fund. The Yoruba National Fund is an avenue for every sons and daughters of Yoruba around the world. It does not matter how small. If we all say we will go there and put in £5 or $5 on a monthly basis to support these trust fund, it will be very easy for the trust fund to have in their millions of dollars to support almost every project that we're asking for. They need money, for the wife of our KOKORO. UK wants to take the British government to fight them not using the conventional way of fighting, but to go to the British court here. Imagine having to go to the British High Court in UK. Don't you think it's going to be very fascinating, interesting? That way, for 200 years, they were selling us like chicken, They were selling people in their hundreds, in their thousands. Great-great-grandfather wa ta le trace lineage wọn mọ́, wọ́n ti jù wọ́n sómi dànù. Ẹlòmíì ti wà l'Amẹ́ríkà, ẹlòmíì le trace gbogbo lineage yẹn mọ́ after bá ń parọ́ fúnra wa. It will take another, thousands of years, even if they have to trace it back. Ìlú èmi nísìn, tá bá fẹ́ trace lineage yẹn all the way down, I'm sure we will not be able to, because lára àwọn lineage yẹn ti kúrò nínú continent yẹn tá à ń pè nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. It was never Nigeria when they were nígbà tó ń kó wa lẹ́rú ní slaves. Kò ń ṣe Nigeria. It was after tó ti bastardize wa, tó ti bà tiwa jẹ́, because ti bà tiwa jẹ́. Gbogbo ta kàn ṣe nísìn, a kàn pretend tá bá ti wọṣọ, tá gbé góòlù sọ́rùn, tá wọ ago, tá dán láwọ̀, àwa tá wà labroad, àwọn tó wà nílé àwọn èèyàn ń pa, because wọ́n ti fìṣẹ́ bá tiwọn jẹ́. But àwa tá wà níta à ń fa gbùrù ń fagbó. A lè níbi tá fẹ́ dé sí mọ́. Yes, you can buy property outside, you can be doing very well, but you don't have a home. You are literally losing everything because you are not going to be here forever. Everybody is going to die. So what we are doing is we are trying to set the record as quickly as possible. But how do we want to set the record if we are also attached and glued? Russia Ukraine what in power láti joy? Kokoro ló gé orí ẹ̀, orí kokoro tó gé yẹn is more than already 1,000 people, because kokoro fúnra rẹ̀ ọkùnrin tó dúró tán ni. So if they were able to kill kokoro, just look at it as 1,000 people have been killed. But because it's just one person, understand? Imagine kí wọ́n sọ fún òyìnbó pé wọ́n gé orí òyìnbó kan, ó wá lọ jù sínú Ilford forest àbí ó lọ dump ẹ̀ síbì kan. There's a lot of crime here that happen as well. So, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, he can have a lot on his plate, but he can still talk about it. Just as he talks about so many cases he talks about, does not mean he will deal with it. It's just about giving it that publicity. So that we shouldn't give any excuse to Oriyomi Hamzat. He doesn't have to take the case, but he can still talk about it and say, but ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ báyìí ṣẹlẹ̀, ṣé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yẹn ń ṣe ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó heavy? Ìjẹ́wọ́ lè gé orí èèyàn kan ní agbègbè tèmi wà yìí kí ọlọ́pàá má sọ̀rọ̀ ẹni tó má sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà gbogbo wa tá wà ní àdúgbò yìí pé kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀. So ìjẹ́wọ́ lè pààyàn ládùúgbò yìí kí blogger kan sọ pé àbí news kan sọ pé àwọn busy. Bọ́ bá gé orí èèyàn nílùú yìí nísìn, gbogbo tí BBC ṣe níbẹ̀ nísìn wọ́n máa dà ìbátò wá sí bíbá. Ẹ mọ̀ kí gbogbo tí BBC ń sọ nísìn ọ̀rọ̀ Ukraine ni. So, anyway, let's come back to the conversation here. The question then is, if we do not raise, am I again for something? I need the will. Who is going to give us everything that we will need? I'm not talking about the short term. Analysis is called a short-term goal. It doesn't matter how much anybody has spent, it's the short-term goal. And not one person can carry the load of this Yoruba nation. In your call, about not 10 million, 20 million, CBCon, cannot 50 million, CBCon, can 100,000 CBCon, is not as having a collective effort of that singular movement that can be easily put together. Because if you give whatever X amount to whoever in any of the state, it's not going to fix the problem of the other state. It's not going to solve the problem of the local government. So the question is, if we are truly going to start thinking about the long term, and the long term can be anytime now till the end of the year, we still have the room. We still have the time. Based on the numbers in their millions of Yorubas around the world, does not stop you from doing all those other things that you were doing in each of your platforms, each of your groups as individuals. But don't let anybody tell you, hey, I need the whole paper of Injani, Ukraine telling anything. Paper, even though they have the support that at least is still flowing through. Just the element, last song, making a call, the element, sorry, do you know how much it costs? Just the element does not mean that the element will save them all the way through, depending on interban juice in Walara. So the question then is, who is going to fund what we are discussing? Who fund it? The politicians are not going to give you any money because the politician doesn't want to break up of Nigeria. The politician keeps Nigeria because it's benefiting them and it's good for them. But it's not good for me and you because we can see that there's no justice in every part of Yoruba land today. For the last 22 years of this fraudulent democracy that they say they put on us. So it's not just about the APC, it's also about the PDP that were there for 16 years. So we're talking about trillions of naira or converted back to dollars if truly we are ready. And stop pointing finger. Hey, around ESN here, do you know how much that is involved for you to even see the ESN? ESN is operating, but they're operating within the vicinity of their state. ESN is not going to come to Yoruba land because it's not designed to come to Yoruba land. So when people go and share their, maybe some of their training and you see them kit up with everything that is needed, for them to stand as you're looking at them. Who is funding them is the question. Who is funding them? Yes, the government of yes and one if you power not set up to an, but how do we fund it is the question. Maybe the Yoruba National Fund can fund it, but how can they fund it if we do not have the fund inside the coffer? We're not talking about some kind of $1 million there. We're talking about huge amount of money that can fund so many activities as quickly as possible and shut down the whole system. One person will not be able to fix it in terms of bringing all the fund in. But our collective effort together can do it. Let's come back again. It's coming up to 12 minutes past midnight. It's now the 28th of February 2022. If we wait for the world, Ilana UK says they need £50,000 to challenge the 1914 amalgamation. I'm not sure they've had that money already. But our heart is so attached to what is happening in Ukraine that people will raise money for them and that money will go to the tune of X amount of money. But that will not solve the problem. That is not going to solve the problem, because if you raise money for those in Ukraine, it's good for them at the emergency that they need it. But they're still either going to be brought back to Nigeria that is not working, or they stay over there and they become more bullied, because it's not the end of it. What about is the end of it? They are going to start afresh all over again. But if we stop Nigeria now, while the problem is happening in Ukraine, in another 2 years, these people can come back and they can say they have a home to come to. But what we have done is, everybody is now putting sentiment, attached sentiment to what is happening, and then we lose focus on the reality of what we want to do. Because I can assure you, I've seen it. £25,000 have been raised for people in Ukraine. I've seen the figure already. And it will go up anytime soon, because people are concerned, which is right to be concerned. Don't get me wrong. But are we not concerned about our people at home that have been bastardized for the last 20 years of democracy? And if you add this another 40 years of the fraudulent independence that was given to us by the British government. So on which side do you want to stand? Do you want us to stop the situation and rescue as many people back? It's easy for us to compare quickly and say, India, because Indian love his people. So are we saying that we don't have, people that can put up 2 aircraft and send them straight to Poland and say, our people are not even going to sleep outside. We will bring every single one of them back as their Nigerians. That has not happened yet. Maybe tomorrow it will happen. I don't know. Are we really ready? Or we are just all dreaming about it? Because if we want it, just as the Ukrainians are saying that we will defend our land, even to the last man standing. How many of us are ready to defend our land? Is it by mouth? Or is it by reality? Or by pointing finger at those at home and say they are not ready? What about you outside the country? I've seen people going back to Ukraine, but they've gone back inside to fight. So on which side? In Tabakwe calling anything when the time comes, are you ready to go back home as well? Rather than just pointing finger at those at home. Because I want to want in Ukraine, they're not pointing fingers to those inside. They are going back to support them in whatever ways they can. Once again, a very good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on the globe you're watching us from, because we're all running different time zones around the globe. So my time here is 16 minutes past 12 midnight, will be a different time. Yes, we're concerned about every innocent person in the world. But do you think that the world is concerned about me and you as Yoruba people? Because all the world have done is they've locked us in as part of Nigeria. That's what the world have done. Because they count us as Nigerians and we will be dealt with according to who we are, called Nigeria. This man took the fight. Are we ready to rally round him? Are we going to do everything it takes to make sure that it's freedom happens as quickly as possible? Or do we just wait behind for a miracle? We know that he will be released, which there's no doubt about that. Our own concern is we as Yorubas. The Yoruba come first, because the Yoruba has been marginalized more than even those you are watching being dealt with right now as Yoruba people. You only need to ask yourself, that the situation that is blowing into our eyes, ǹjẹ́ àwa náà ti jìyà yẹn rí àbí a ṣì ń jẹ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́? The media will play to your mind and allow us to lose focus on the reality of what is happening to our own people back home. And myself and you have the role and the responsibility to stop it. The world is not on our side, if you don't know that. And they will never be on our side. Àwa la máa sọ fún wọn pé we want this, regardless of whether you're on our side or not. But what we are doing is we are waiting for the world to give us what we are asking for. We're not going to be staying long. It's just about 10 minutes and then we're going to be winding down completely. Like I said, Yoruba nation is not by mouth. It's by the desire, the will for each and every one of us to be prepared for whatever might be the consequence and the outcome, which we know will be great. But some have just taken these as another kind of EastEnders. Some believe that this is EastEnders. Somebody finish here, you go and watch there, you listen, and that's it. Yoruba Nation is not on Netflix. If we want it, we go for it. Tabafe, let's leave it. We know our demands, but we are trying to slow down that demand. And nobody in this world will come and give you your demand. You take it from them. They are not smarter than us. We still have the desire, the will to go for it. But the moment we attach sentiment to what is happening around us, not literally just in Ukraine, Russia, a lot of things is happening around us, and you might literally just say, you know what, just forget it. If we lose it this time, only God knows what the next generation will do. Because they will watch all these videos. They will read each one of your comments because it's on a footprint. And each of your own family will start asking the question. So all these people were just jokers. They were just waste of time. Asking for Yoruba Nation on the social media. Just like that, and nothing happened. They're going to point finger at every one of us. Bugwa, Loma point finger at. Because we've all been involved. But we can all do the needful. from even wherever we are, if only we have the desire to do so. Yoruba nation is not just by mouth, it's by the will. And we are still on a countdown. The politicians are maneuvering around the country, convincing millions of people that Nigeria will be great. But we know Nigeria can never be great. And that means we have the more responsibility than those at home, because those ones are living inside the bottle that have been locked. Our lafe unlock bottle here. They cannot think straight. Majority of people at home. Because as far as they're concerned, that is what they see on a daily basis. So it's going to be difficult for them, for us to unplug it out as quickly as possible. But our tafe plug it, at our tafe unplug it. We know the reason why we should plug it and when we should unplug it. Because anything, you know, they're charging their phone every minute, every day. But for me now, I probably will charge the phone until the battery runs completely flat. Because I know that the power is there. Why should I stress myself? People know that Yoruba nation is the only way out. Nigeria has failed millions of people. But they don't know what to do. They're scared. They're concerned. And we've told them and given them the assurance so many times that just as you're watching it in Ukraine, it won't be more than that. Ukraine is still functioning as much as they're bombing it every day. The war is not like the war in the 60s. It is completely different. We are watching the war, but it's being fought in the 21st century using the technology. Those in the 60s, during the First War or whatever war that have been fought, whether in Nigeria or outside the country, was not being beamed like these. You can go and look at the quality of those pictures or the videos. Just Google it, you will understand what I'm saying. But right there and there, if I want to watch anything of this Ukraine now, I just go on Google or YouTube. I type in whichever platform I believe might be watching. Some are even streaming live, everything. But I can't show them because, you know, it's not something to go into the broadcast. But you can go and look for it yourself. It's there. I've seen different things. I'm sure some of you have seen it as well. I've seen military people being killed. It's war. They're still going to come on the round table. But somebody would then have to have the upper edge, which is exactly what is being played out now. Do we want to have the upper edge, or we want to remain where we're just having a conversation among ourselves? Do we want the international community to be involved in this communication? Because so far, that's all I can see here in all the platforms. Doesn't matter which platform you travel to. The international community is not speaking to us. I want to get to that level where the international media doesn't have to interview me, but they got to start interviewing a lot of people and be discussing about Nigeria. But at the moment, they're not discussing Nigeria because we've not given them the ban for them to discuss Nigeria. And that's why I'm asking, do we want Yoruba nation, or we just want to be watching each other? KOIKI are on. Hey. Kimu sigade lori, kimu beer lori, kimu whiskey, and then we just go and sleep and we come back again tomorrow. Do we want the international community to be involved in our communication? And if yes, so what are we waiting for? As much as Russia is attacking, they also know that they still have to put a bit of consideration on it. Russia could have taken up the power plant in Ukraine, and that would affect the whole Ukraine. Shut down the whole power system. At the moment, power is still operating, as far as I'm concerned. If there's no power, you can't watch BBC transmitting from Ukraine. You can't watch Al Jazeera. You can't watch CNN. You can't watch Outreach. You can't watch any of your favorite TV station. I think with Russia, power plant, Russia knows, just as we know where the power plant is as well on our own globe of the side as well. But do we want the international community to have that communication, discussion? All we are doing, every one of us, is you're just posting everything on WhatsApp. You're wasting your time. If you like, I see it. Copy and paste. That's all we're doing. We're just, as far as I'm concerned, it's junks. That's why I've removed myself, and I'm still going to remove myself from more groups, because all I can see is just junks moving from one end to the other. That's all I see. But when we do the needful, the world will be the one asking us and helping us to share the message. What we are doing now is we're sharing the message that doesn't belong to us. Hey, that's what we are sharing all over the platforms. We should be thinking about what we want to do in each of the WhatsApp group. You don't need to tell anybody. You don't need to publicize it. Media tó wà níta ló máa gbé. It is the media outside that will talk about it. Your job is not to talk about it. Your job is just to do what you have to do to create the awareness. That's all you need to do. When you create the awareness, the world will pick it up easily. But what we have not done is, we've not done that awareness for the international community to have the conversation on it. And that is something that we all have to go back on the round table. It doesn't matter how many meetings that is being promoted on each of the platforms. It's not going to take us anywhere. It's not going to take us to anywhere. It doesn't matter if I sit here for 4 hours. The international media is not going to pick on it. But the moment there's something there, the international community knows that they can pick the feed either from me, because I can get the live transmission, or they switch their satellite. Do you know that is now yesterday, Elon Musk, Anthony, electric car, Elon Musk. Did anybody pick any story about him in the last 24 hours? For those of, everybody's following what is happening around the globe. Elon Musk. You know who he is? Did anybody pick any information? Tesla, yeah. Anything Tesla. Did anyone watch it right now? Did you pick anything that was discussed of him in the last 24 hours based on what is happening in Ukraine? I'm just waiting to see the comments. He's turned off the satellite for Ukraine in case the satellite goes down. That means Ukrainians don't have to worry about internet. Internet will still work. So those of you that are concerned that when the fight starts in Nigeria, they will turn off the internet, you'll be surprised that somebody else around the globe will switch on the satellite and the signal still continue. We're just wasting time. We are not ready, as far as I'm concerned. But those of us that are ready will continue the effort that doesn't have to go on the social media. They turn on their satellite in Ukraine. You probably want to check that out. at least fẹ́yìntì àwọn wá concern pé Nigerian government máa pa gbogbo wa dànù àbí ìdí nǹkan tẹ́ máa ń sọ nìyẹn àní nǹkan tá a fi bá wọn jà wọ́n máa pa wá dànù. The world will not say it. Not in 21st century. Whatever is going to happen in Nigeria will be beamed live to the whole world. The world will see directly whatever atrocity that will be committed when that time comes. But if we do not push, the world will just see us as... All they can see us now is just people doing YouTube, talking, Facebook, Twitter. That's all they can see us. But ìjọ tó bá ti gbọ́ kúrò lórí social media, tó lọ sínú mainstream media, then Yoruba nation is now ready to go. But for now, we are not ready to go. Ashing warm up and warm up. But ó wá depend bá ṣe fi jẹ́ kí acceleration ẹ̀ kó kick in. If not, it's good for some, but some of us it's not good. Because we got to start thinking. Have a very good morning from this side of the globe. You catch me again tomorrow. Udaro. Bye for now.
Kakoni mora, kakonele, kayeni si, kasaro tutu koyo bilapo, owe ibawi, owe ikilo, owe iwuri, ọ̀rọ̀ bá sọnù. Àkàlò èdè ńkọ́. Ibi gíga. Ibi gíga gíga lọ́kọ̀ Yorùbá yóò máa lọ. Ibi gíga gíga lẹ́tí máa rọ́mọ Yorùbá. Ibi gíga gíga lẹ́tí máa rọ́mọ tuntun wá. Lẹ́hìn bìrì wá nílé ẹ̀jẹ̀, lẹ́hìn bìrì wá lẹ́yìn lẹ́yìn. Ibi gíga lọ́kọ̀ Yorùbá yóò máa lọ. Adéwálé fún wa ibi gíga dàǹkọ́jọ́. Ibi gíga oṣù bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o iwájú lójúgun ń gbé òkè níjọ òkè lẹ́yìn fún òkè. Ọmọ Ìbàràpá lápapọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àkí ọmọ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ tìlé tó kó ẹ̀mí àbọ̀ ẹ̀bá nkọ́mọ Adéyẹmọ. Chief Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho orúkọ ńlá tí ń jámọ̀ láyà bí àrá orúkọ tó ń dẹrù bó lórúkọ gan-an. Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má sùn o torí pé bùrà a kò lè fojú kégbodò láyé títa ríro lẹ̀dá ń kọlà wúrà tó máa dán alànà kọjá dandan o. Ọ̀wọ́n irin ní má bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ̀nà ẹ̀dá kan lè ṣì wá lọ́nà mọ́ ẹjẹ́ àfìmọ̀ṣọ̀ kan ká lè débi re. Ẹjẹ́ àjọ gbárùkù ti Sunday Ìgbòho ṣá ọmọ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ nílùú Alágbàdo Òde ọmọ atapẹ̀tẹ̀ wọnú omi ọmọ gèdèlè wodò sànyà ìsànyà ò rẹ́ràn bàbá yín láàrin ìdí omi kò sì náà ń kán sí yín lẹ́nu ọmọ òkúta mẹ́ta òkè Ìgbòho ìkan ń ṣe yín ní dábọ̀dàbọ̀ ìkan ní mọ́ rọra ìkan tó kù nígbà tí wọ́n ò mọ̀ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ kí ló dé Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ sí ọmọ òpópó sanran ìgbàgede Ìgbòho sùn wọn láláìsí bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ́n ní kó ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó máa kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀sìn òní bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ bẹ́sìn bá bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho àfikàn pọ̀pọ̀ sí amúkan yòókù bọ̀ sànyà àtúmúyà rẹ̀ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ àfiṣẹ́rù wálé wàràmùjẹ́ ọmọ onílé ọ̀la àwọn àjòjì tó ń ṣe ségesège tán láwọn ò ní bomi kó sí mu wọn láwọn ò ní bomi sànyà wẹsẹ̀ ìgbà tójú kò fi rí ńkọ́ gbogbo wọn náà sáré bomi kó sí mu wọ́n sì bomi sànyà wẹsẹ̀ ọmọ abẹ́rẹ́ mẹ́ta òde ayé ọ̀kan ṣẹ́ ọ̀kan tẹ̀ ọ̀kan tó kù ní gbogbo ayé ti ránṣọ kiri gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá Sunday Igboho onírẹ̀lẹ̀ láéláé torí àbá lásán nìkan ń dá òkúta ò ṣe gbé fún wọn o. Ìmọ̀ràn lásán ni ti balùwẹ̀ kò pọ́sibú kó dòdò láyé ń bí. Ó kún díẹ̀ títọ́ domi láéláé ìtọ́ mi lè domi. Sunday Igboho arógun má ti bí tó ń jà fẹ́tọ̀ Yorùbá ní tilé tó kó.
Ilá abìlà ni wọ́n sí ẹ bá mi ṣí ẹ̀ káàkiri bàbá dámi la ṣe yìí fún mi. Yoruba nation now no going back. Yoruba nation now no going back. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Akí gbogbo wa a kú gbìyànjú a kú kó lè dá Ọlọ́run bá alá ajẹ́ kó dá fún wa inshallah rahman. Olóyè Sunday Igboho Ọlọ́run bá yọ wá níwọ̀n Al-Qur'an Karim. Ọmọ Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho ṣá o owó bàbá àdámi yo mẹsàyà mẹ̀kúnnù ni Jésù àsìkò tiwa nìyẹn ànábì Muhammad àsìkò tiwa nìyí o àtiwọ́ tó fẹ́ o owó bàbá àdámi yo ìránṣẹ́ Olúwa ni àkàndé èèyàn ni ẹkùn tágìrì gbéra ẹni jà ni à ń lè bọ́ lẹ́yìn jagunlabi ńlára wájú gbogbo ara wájú tún pẹ̀rú kílẹ̀ yìí o bàbá dámì ni ó nífẹ̀ẹ́ mẹ̀kúnnù wo wọn balẹ̀ ẹ̀ jẹ́ ó nífẹ̀ẹ́ mẹ̀kúnnù wo wọn daṣẹ́ rú ó nífẹ̀ẹ́ mẹ̀kúnnù wo wọn bà gbogbo nǹkan ẹ̀ jẹ́ ó sì ń sọ pé no going back kí o owó bàbá dámì o gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ń ṣe lédè lẹ́yìn yẹn orí bá wà ṣọ́ ẹ̀ dé kó o dé wá bá wa láyọ̀ o gbogbo nǹkan ni ẹ tó ti bàjẹ́ kọ́lọ́ ń bá wa dá padà ó àdìpèlé re ọmọ má kú mọ́ ẹ lójú o káyà má kú mọ́ ẹ lójú àwa ta nífẹ̀ẹ́ rẹ ó káwa gan máa yàn kú mo kí gbogbo àwa Yorùbá nation orí jẹ́ agúnlẹ́sẹ̀ bùtẹ́rẹ̀ àwa ń bẹ̀ ọ́ gbogbo ìjọba Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n ń rẹ́ wa jẹ wọ́n tún ń rẹ́ wa tà wọ́n tún ní kán máa pa wá Ọlọ́run dákun wá gbà wá o wa ò lẹ́ni tá a lè ké pè mọ́ ìwọ lórúkọ tó lè bá wa ṣe Ọlọ́run wá ṣe ìfún wa o ká lékún ọpẹ́ o là.
You are confused. The love is too much. 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 Come on. Let's go.
Kashishe,